Hey, this is Toby, welcome back to another video. So in this video we continue to code our StreakEA from the previous video. So with this EA we are trying to replicate an old strategy of mine, this one here, I created over 5 years ago, and we will also do some backtesting so we get a result like this in the end of the video or in one of the next parts. If you have not seen the first part, I will link it up here, so you can go watch it, then come back to this video. And yeah, let's switch to Visual Studio Code and we continue to code our EA. Okay, so here we are in Visual Studio Code. Of course, you can also code this EA with the default meter editor. If you want to know how to use Visual Studio Code for the MQL5 language, I made a video about this. I will link it up here. And this is the file we created last time. So we already did the inputs, the global variables on init function here. And I think we have to continue here to check the inputs of the user. Also, I have the strategy idea right here. So the basic idea is to have a streak of green bars to open a buy position with a take profit and stop loss in points and a time exit. And we also have this bar size filter to make sure that the bars have a specific size. Okay, so let's go here to the check inputs function and let's check the other inputs. Okay, so I think the next input here is for the lot size. I will just copy this part, paste it here and change the name, input lot size. Yeah, lot size should not be equal or below 0. We also change the message here, lot size, and we return false, so we don't start the EA. Let's also hit compile here, just to make sure that we don't have any mistakes. Okay, next input is for the time frame. So change this to input time frame. Yeah, and this should not be equal to period current. In this case, we also print or alert the user. So time frame can't be period current, like this. Next input is for the streak. I will copy this again. So input streak. So the streak, of course, should not be 0 or below 0, but everything else is pretty much fine. So streak below equals 0. Next input is for the size filter. So the size filter can be 0, so no size filter active, but not below 0. Input size filter. So we change this here and only check if the size filter is below 0. So we also change the message here. Size filter below 0. Next input is for the stop loss. This also can be 0, so no stop loss. Take profit, exit. Okay, so input stop loss. And here, stop loss. I will copy this for the take profit. Input take profit. This. And the last one is for the time exit hour. And here -1 means off, because 0 is basically a valid time. So input time exit hour. This should not be below -1 and should not be above 23, I would say. So input time exit hour. If that's greater than 23, we also want to stop the EA. Let's change this here. Time exit below -1 or time exit greater than 23. Okay, now let's hit compile. Okay, so just make sure you have no mistake here. And that's pretty much all we need to do to check the inputs of the user to make sure we only start the EA when the inputs are valid. Okay, so next we create another custom function to check if we have a bar open tick. So let's just write a comment here. Check if we have a new bar open tick. So this function will return true or false. So return type is Boolean and the name is new bar, no parameters. And here in the end, we return false. And the first thing here in the function is to declare a static variable of type datetime, and let's call it previous time. And we initialize this with 0, like this. And now another variable of type datetime, current time. And we set this using the itime function from metaquotes to set it to the current bar open time. So the current symbol here, the current period of the symbol time frame, and here for the shift 0, so the current bar, because the latest bar is always 0, the previous bar is 1, and so on. Okay, so now we have the two variables, and now we can do a simple if statement here and check if the previous time is or differs from the current time. And in this case, we go into this body of the if statement and we set the current time to the previous time, like this. And very important, we return true here. So that's all we need to do here in this function to check if the current tick is a new bar open tick. Let's hit compile to make sure we have no mistake. Okay, so let's actually use this function here in the onTick function. I think we have to create the onTick function, and we will do this after the onInit here. I will copy this comment section here, paste it here, and let's rename this to expert tick function, like this. The onTick function is of type void, and now the name is onTick. It's very important that you use the same name because this is a predefined function. I can press F1 here to get to the help. You can read about the function here. So this is basically executed with each new tick of the symbol the EA is running on. So no return type, onTick here, no parameters. And in here we can now write a comment, check if current tick is a bar open tick. And for this we write a simple if statement and write a exclamation mark and use our function now is new bar. So if this function returns false, we also want to return for the onTick function, and we don't execute the code below this line here. If it's a new tick, we won't get into this body of the if statement, and we will execute the code below this line here. Okay, so let's hit compile. Make sure you have no mistake. That's all we need to do to check if the current tick is a bar open tick. Next step is to get the current tick into our global variable tick here. For this, we can write another comment, get current tick, and we use a if statement here. Also a exclamation mark. It's really important that you don't miss these exclamation marks here. And we use the predefined function symbol info tick, and here we need to specify the symbol, so current symbol, and now our tick variable, our global variable, like this. And if this call here returns false, we want to maybe print out a message for the user. So print failed to get current tick, something like that. And we also return here, just return for the onTick function, and we don't execute the stuff below if this symbol info tick fails. Okay, let's hit compile. Make sure you have no mistake. And now we can take a look at the next step. Next step here would be to count the open positions. We can write a comment here, count open positions. But for this, we have to write a custom function. We already have here our C position info object, and we will use this to count the buy and sell trades. So let's go down after the isNewBar function. Let's write another comment here, count open positions, and the return type is void, no return type, and the name, count positions. And for the parameters, we want to count the sell and the buy positions, and we want to use a counter for each side, basically. So we want a parameter of type integer here, and we pass this parameter by reference, so we get back the value basically, and let's call it count buy, and another integer by reference, count sell, like this. And here inside the function, first of all, we set the two parameters here to 0, count buy and count sell. Next, we get the total number of positions. We declare a variable type integer called total, and we use the positions total function. Because we want to loop through all the positions and want to check if a position has our magic number, we want to increase our counter here. And now we can use a simple for loop to loop through all the positions. So our counter I, we start at total -1. It's very important that you loop down when you work with positions in the MetaTrader 5 platform, so you don't miss a position. Next, we do this loop as long as I is greater or equal to 0. And in the end, we decrease our counter by 1, like this. Inside the for loop, first of all, we want to select a position. So we can write here position. This is our C position info object. And now we can write dot and select by index. And our index here is our counter I, like this. Now we can check if the position that we selected here has our magic number. So if position dot magic is equal to our input magic number. This case we want to count, and now we need to check if it's a sell or buy position, so we know if we need to increase the buy or the sell counter here. So another if statement here, and we can do position dot position type. So if the type is position type buy, in this case we want to increase our counter by 1, like this. We copy and paste this line, do the same for the sell positions. So if position type is position type sell, we want to increase the counter for the sell positions, like this. Okay, let's clear this up a little bit. Okay, so we loop, we select the position, we check the magic number, and then depending on the type, we increase the counter buy or counter sell. And of course we get the value back because we pass these parameters here by reference. Okay, so let's hit compile, make sure we have no mistake here. And now we can already use this count positions function here in our onTick function. So we go up here after the comment here. We can now declare two integers, count by and count sell, and we also set these to 0 maybe. Like this. Let's hit compile. Okay, now we can call our count positions function here, and we just pass the count by variable and the count sell variable like this. And now we know how many buy positions we have open and how many sell positions. Okay, let's hit compile again. Okay, the next step would be to already check if we want to open a buy position. So let's write a comment here. Check for new buy position. And here we will use a simple if statement. And now we use our counter buy here, because this has to be 0 to open another buy position. This, and later we will use a call of a custom function here to check if we have, for example, green bars or red bars, or if the size of the bars is big enough. But first of all, we have to write the custom function, of course. So I will close the if statement here, so we are able to compile without any mistakes. And let's go down to write a custom function to check the streak of the bars, if we have 3 green bars or 3 red bars in a row, and also the size of the bars. Okay, so we will do this maybe all the way in the end here. Let's write a comment, check bars, and the return type of this function will be, I think, Boolean, so just true or false. The name, let's call it check bars. For the parameters, we want one parameter of type Boolean by underscore sell. So if this is true, we want to check for a buy position. If this is false, we want to check for a sell position. Let's open the body here. In the end, we return true. And now we should be able to compile without any mistake. Okay, so the first thing here in the function is to get the previous bars. And this, of course, depends on the number we have set with our input streak. Here, if you want to get 3 bars or 5 bars or even 10, for example. And to get the bars, we will use the MQL rates structure. So let's write a comment here, get bars. And here we just use the MQL rates structure. This is a predefined structure we can use, because in here we have the open price and the close price of each bar. And that's basically all we need to check the color of the bar and the size of the bar. Okay, and let's call this variable rates here. And this is actually a dynamic array, because we want to get multiple bars, like the last 5 bars, for example, into our array. Next, we want to set this array to series. So we basically switch the indexing. So it's the same as for time series. Bar number 0 is the current bar, bar number 1 the previous bar, and so on. It's just easier to understand. So we use rates here and true, like this. And now we try to get the bar values with the copy rates function. And we do this inside the if statement here. We write an exclamation mark, very important. So copy rates, and here we need to specify the symbol, so current symbol. For the time frame, we use our input time frame. And now there are different options for this function. We want to use this one here, where we specify the start position and the number of bars we want to get. So a start position in our case is, let's just start with 0, the current bar. And we want to use our input streak variable here for the count. And we also add +1 here. and the data is stored in our rates dynamic array. Like this. Let's open the body here. Yeah, if this call fails, we want to print a message for the user, maybe failed to get rates, and we want to return false, so we don't open a position. Okay, now we should be able to compile without any mistake here. So for the start position and count, start is 0. You can take a look at the picture. 0 here, the current bar, and the count is our input streak. In this case here, 3 plus 1, because we need to get 4 bars. The current bar, this one, and this one. Okay, next is to actually check the condition. If all the bars are green, for example, for a buy position, or red for a sell position. So we can write another comment here, check condition, like this. And we will do this with a simple for loop. So let's write a for loop here. And we have our counter I here. We start this counter actually at our input streak, like this. And as long as this counter is greater than 0, we want to loop. And in the end here, we decrease the counter. So if we take a look at the picture, we start at input streak here. So we have 3 here in this case. So we start with this bar, and then with each iteration, we decrease the counter, and then we take a look at this bar, and this is the last bar because this is the last time our counter here is greater than 0. We don't need to look at the current bar. So this is the for loop. And in here, we can now, first of all, declare a variable, for example, is green, just to make it easier to read and to check if the current bar is a green bar or not. And we can use now our rates array with our index I, and now dot to access the elements of the structure. And we check if the open is less or equal than the close. So rates I dot close. In this case, we know if this is true, it's a green bar, right? The open is below the close of the bar. So this is the first variable here, and another variable is the size. So we can write size here, and the size is just the difference between the open and the close. And to get this right for red and green bars, we use the math absolute function here. And we can just copy this in here. And we just get the difference minus close, like this. This will give us the size of the current bar we are looking at here in our for loop. And now we can use these two variables to check the condition. So if our buy sell is true, here this parameter, if we want to check for a buy position, of course the bar has to be green. So if this is true and the bar is not green, in this case, we want to return false for the function. So we can do like return false, like this. Now also we want to check for the size of the bar. So if it's red, this is a reason to return false. But also if the size of the bar is too small, this is also a reason to return false. So we can add another condition here, or our input size filter. First of all, we need to check if it's greater than 0. And the size of the bar is below our input size filter. So Yeah, this is another reason to return false. The bar is basically just too small and we return false. Okay. Yeah, let's hit compile here. We probably need to clarify this a little bit here with some brackets. We can see we have a warning here. So we clarify this. We add another bracket here. So this has to be true. And we add another bracket here. Like this. Now if we hit compile, we should not have a warning here and no error. Okay, and we do the same, of course, for red bars. So if our buy sell parameter is false, we want to check for red bars, for example, for a sell position. And we have a green bar. So we delete the exclamation mark here and add it here. That's very important. And it's the same for the size filter for the bar. We also return false. Okay, let's delete this line maybe here. Let's hit compile. And now we can use this check bars function in our onTick function. And maybe we do this and then we go to the platform and check if this actually works here. Maybe, yeah, let's go up to the onTick function here. And let's add this for a buy position, our check bars function. Of course, true here for a buy position has to return true here for this if statement. In this case, we go into this if body here, and for now, later we will open a position here, set the stop loss, take profit, but for now let's just use a print statement here. And let's just say open by position, so we can test it in the strategy tester. Let's hit compile. I will now compile using the script here in Visual Studio Code. So this will also reload the EA in the MetaTrader 5 platform. Okay, so let's switch to the MetaTrader 5 platform and test this. So here in the strategy tester, select the EA, select a symbol, time frame 5 minutes, last year, for example. Make sure to check the visual mode, open price only. This doesn't really matter, but yeah, for the inputs, I will just use the default inputs. So we need 3 green bars to get the print statement. So let's run this and see. We got some print statements here. I will clear them. I will use now F12 to jump 1 bar. So we have 1 green bar, 2 green bars, 3 green bars. And now at the next bar open tick, we should get a print statement here. And we do. Open buy position. Yeah, let's here again, open buy position. Let's change the input, increase it maybe to, let's say 7 green bars in a row. So the size filter is still off. That's fine. Yeah, let's see if we get a, let's clear this. If we get 7 bars in a row. Okay, here. And we get the print statement here. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that's working fine. Our check bars custom function here. So next step here would be to write the code to open a buy position and then do the same for the sell positions. But I think we will do this in the next part. If you are interested in learning MQL5 from the ground up, I have a video course on my website. I also have a Discord server with a pretty nice community. You can join for free. All the links are below the video. Yeah, if this video was helpful, would be nice if you just leave a like, write a comment if you have a question about algorithmic trading or about this EA. And yeah, I will see you in one of the next videos. Bye bye.